What made us come to Generation Church, we had been going to a church outside of Portland for several years, and we finally came to the conclusion or the decision that we wanted to be in a church that's in Portland. Our daughters were from Portland, we're from Portland. We wanted our children to grow up with other kids their age from Portland and also go to church with the people that they go to school with. So after we went to that first launch meeting, I still remember walking in and everybody went, "Hey!" And I didn't hardly know anybody there. I knew a few people, but not many, but they made me feel so welcomed. And they made me feel like every single person in that room must have known who I was. And so that right there hooked me. But we went a couple more times to the launch meetings just to make sure it was where we wanted to be. And we loved Pastor Brandon's vision for the church. It was exactly what we were looking for. And so we were so excited to be part of launch day and just all the people that had come to launch day that had been lost and not in church for so long and got saved that day. And one of the biggest wins for me is my dad had come to church with me a couple of times at other churches. He just didn't care for it. He grew up in church, but he had gotten far away from church. And he came to church with me at Generation Church one day. And he loved it. He loved Pastor Brandon. He loved how everybody made him feel. He thought it was the most non-judgmental church he had ever been to. And he really liked it. And just getting to know Pastor Brandon and being a part of this church and visiting here, he gave his heart to God and he got saved, which is the biggest win for me because now I know he's in heaven and I'll see him one day.
And so for me, it was my brother and my family, they ended up started coming, and he had went through a lot during his first marriage and divorce, and late one night he ended up giving me a call, and he told me that he was ready to take his life. And so one of the things that I had learned was to hand stuff over to God. And so the whole time I had been going through this situation with Chad, I knew he was going through a divorce. I knew he was having a hard time, and I kept inviting him to church. And so that night, I had decided, instead of praying, "God, give me the words to speak to Chad," it was, "God, send somebody to affect Chad for you." And so then God sent Jordan and Addie, and it was an amazing thing for us because she helped straighten him out, to be honest. I mean, she's been a great blessing to our family.
In the first way, through me and Chad, he went from almost, I don't know if it was like angry with God or just the way that he was raised.
I was angry with God.
Yeah. We actually had a conversation one time, and he was just, contemplating really, like he knew like in his heart that God was real, heaven was real, but we had a conversation about that. And to see that transition to now and how he serves his family and serves church and is really just a praying man now, has been really cool to watch. And that's from GC. And Kim and Barry had never made the decision to come. It's been cool to watch that ripple effect. And then us getting married, being able to have Generation be a part of that through the marriage counseling by Lori and John. And then John got to ordain our wedding. That's the right word. And then gaining that relationship with them. Taylor, his daughter, She was in addiction, and she's 2 years clean now. But if it wasn't for GC doing a love day at the Hope Center, we would have never known what Hope Center was, that it even existed. And that has really, God's used that ministry to change her life. And she's clean 2 years in September, and she's interning for the Hope Center in Montana. She got offered a position. I'm now working for the Hope Center. It's been cool to watch how GC's impacted all the girls that come in that are residents at the Hope Center. And then his daughter, Kelsey.
We had a rocky relationship for probably about a year, and Brandon prayed over her, and she was baptized by me at GC, and that's really been resurrected and restored relationship.
Watching his oldest son pray and listen to worship music and talk about Jesus, and he's 17, so it's a big deal. Has been really cool to watch. Seeing us be able to pray for their mom, his ex, has been cool too. Letting go of all that bitterness and being able to forgive, you know. My sister, my grandmother is a very praying woman, just like most grandmas, you know. And so she's been really praying for her family as a whole. And her exact prayer for my sister's husband was that he would come back to God and love him again and want to lead his family. And that's the exact words that came out of his mouth when he was talking to Kelly Owens one day. So that was really cool to hear. And he actively serves at GC on the security team. My sister's not serving yet, but I know she's going to. And his daughter just got baptized. And so like seeing her, she started out going to Pulse, and then like that's kind of how they ended up getting involved. So seeing how when she got baptized, like that didn't only impact like my sister and like my family, but it impacted their family. And then Addie watching Emma get baptized, Emma High get baptized a couple of years ago. She just wanted to get in the water, but that's when, you know, she really started asking questions. So that's been a really cool process to watch too. Like GC is special. Like I want everybody to come to GC just so they can experience God the way that we get to experience Him every weekend. And I'm just like, if I can just get them to walk through the doors, you know, like their lives will be changed, and you know, they'll come to know God, and they'll know His love and feel His love. And so my sister lived in Oregon for a couple of years, and they didn't go to church because it's a whole different culture out there. So I'm sending them online, you know, and she finally starts watching. And so my dad got transferred to Mississippi, and she was like, there's not anything for me, you know, in Mississippi. She wants to pursue music, and she didn't really know what God had for her. So she came here, and she's living with us, and she works at Milo, and she comes to church, she serves, she's doing an internship, and she's on the worship team. And I tell her all the time that God gave her that voice, and God is going to use her, and she's going to save people. She won't save people, God will save people through her voice. That's where people really experience the Spirit.
Because I want to show, let other people see that Jesus that way, and God that way. They can come out of the old body and come into a new body.